most everybody has parasites, and it's because you're a mammal. So if you go outside, if
I actually
you
don't identify as a mammal anymore. I'm a light
okay,
being.
okay.
I'm just
For
kidding.
those of you or us who aren't on Christina's level, the parasites, they probably don't even like our frequency. So let's be real, they probably don't have them. Um, but if you go outside, if you eat fruits and vegetables, if you have a pet, you're going to be exposed to them. The problem is, all throughout time, we've lived pretty symbiotically with parasites. But the issue is, in our modern world, our bodies are acidic. We have a ton of heavy metals in our system. We don't recognize parasites as a thing unless you are on Monsters Inside of Me. So, they get overpopulated really easily. And because of that, that is when this population of parasites begins to carry co-infections and host viruses and host other bacteria. Some symptoms can be as simple as some bloating or just some poop problems to insomnia. That's a really common one. Parasites are most active at night, especially during the full moon. So if you're not sleeping well during the full moon, there's a good chance you have parasites. There's some other ones. Skin is a big one. So if you have skin issues, if you're itchy, if you have acne, that's a big red flag. And one that people don't want to talk about, but if your butthole itches, there's a good chance you have parasites. So the symptoms are far reaching, but at the end of the day, if you've never done a parasite protocol, it's going to be helpful to do one. So to answer your question about how often, if it's your first time doing a parasite protocol, for one, you need to work on toxicity too, like I said in the beginning. But it's going to be a little bit more in depth the first round or the first or second round because you're dealing with a lot bigger of a population. During that time, you should be changing your pH, you should be working on healing your gut, etc. But for most people, after they've done that, I recommend either a monthly maintenance. That's what's easiest for me. I just do it during the full moon when they're the most active because I eat lots of fruits and vegetables. I work in a garden. I have a dog, so I'm going to be exposed. So I just do it during the full moon, and it's just my reminder every month to do a maintenance. Other people, that's just too much. So every 4 to 6 months, they'll do a bigger
Mhm.
protocol. So whichever works out best for you and is more in alignment with your lifestyle, that's what I would recommend.
Okay. So is that just like certain supplements when you're doing maintenance, like that you're just doing around like the week of the full
Yes.
moon? Yeah.
Yes. So I personally use Cellcore.
Yeah.
I love Cellcore.
Same.
The specific product that I use for maintenance is the Para 3.
Hmm.
Obviously, you have to have a practitioner code for any of their products. So if anyone's interested, just let me know. But yeah, I use the Para 3 for maintenance. But if you're
Okay.
waiting 4 to 6 months, I would recommend doing a bigger protocol
Yeah.
because you have a lot more of a population that you have to deal with.
Yeah, totally. Well, and what I just want to add also, like some of the, I think that people with Parasite just they think that it's just like these dramatic gut symptoms a lot of times. The
Hmm.
ones that come up for me more are like my brain, like brain symptoms and like
Oh,
brain
yeah.
fog and not thinking clearly, and also clenching my jaw. Like I'll be clenching a
Oh,
lot or
yeah.
grinding my teeth. And I actually had like really bad issues with my teeth because I was clenching and grinding so much.
Yep.
So if you notice that you clench your teeth a lot, that's one that I feel like is less talked about that definitely has come up for me.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that one up because it is forgotten a lot. And the reason the brain is so affected by parasites, and this is super interesting, a lot of parasites aren't worms. A lot of them are microscopic, even smaller than our own cells. So they do circulate throughout the body. But a large population of parasites ends up in the brain. And I actually see this in iridology readings day in and day out. The most amount of deep grooves will be in the brain region. And here's why. I told you earlier about the connection in between heavy metals and parasites, right? Well, the body is smart, and so it stores toxins in the fat cells, and your brain is mostly made up of fat. So a lot of times, heavy metals end up getting shunted into the brain. So the parasites are going to go where they can be most protected. They have the most resources of heavy metals up there, so they're going to hang out where they're
Mhm.
most protected. So the brain symptoms like brain fog, having a hard time recalling information, those are absolutely symptoms as well.